Hello there lovely people, my name is Sophia and welcome to another Sims 4 speed build. Today I'm building a base game home in the world of Newcrest in the Bridgeview neighborhood, and this is going to be a family home that I imagine to be a converted cafe building, so got kind of an interesting shape here. I went for a more commercial lot vibe to the exterior, but it's a home because we didn't get cafes with base game. I'm pretty sure they came with Get Together or Windenburg, that pack, but this doesn't have to function as a cafe. It's entirely base game, so there should be no problems there. This doesn't even contain the free holiday pack, I'm pretty sure, which if you didn't know is a free pack you can get on Origin, which is just holiday themed. Apparently they update it every year. Good pack, nice candles. Totally recommend it, but didn't even use that here. It's just base game. And this is also, I think, the first time I've ever built in Newcrest. Newcrest intimidates me thoroughly because it's an entirely empty world, and I don't have, for some reason, if I don't have stuff on the lots nearby to like encourage me that my build fits in with the style of the neighborhood, I get really uncomfortable. So you can see I actually plonked a house from the gallery on the lot next door, just so it didn't seem so lonely on this lot, and it helped a lot. But this is the base facade for the building coming up. There's lots of balconies in this build, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of balconies and a lot of chairs on the balconies. I didn't really strive to make them particularly useful for gameplay purposes. They got some chairs, they got some plant pots, but other than that they're just balconies. I don't know. Once again, I was going for the commercial lot vibe to it, so lots of big open windows. There ends up being that thing on the roof which I just did with like varying heights of half walls, and I originally thought that like right here, that's where the business signing used to be, but because this isn't a business anymore, this is a home, it's empty, and it's just a fun little brick accent above the top balcony, and this top balcony leads into the master bedroom. And the diagonal gave me a bit of a problem trying to figure out the floor plan up there. I don't think I kept it in, but I just ended up making the ensuite bathroom a bit of a funky shape. But here I'm just sorting out the roof because I wanted to make it look like the houses across the street, which I don't think you're ever going to see because I don't spin the camera that way. But I also ended up getting this little like roof terrace garden thing in here because I imagined that one of the Sims who lives here, first I should talk about the family who lives here. I imagine this to be a home for a family of 2 parents, a teenager, and 2 children. And I imagine the teenager's room, well, not imagine, the teenager's room does come off onto that grassy balcony thing there, and I imagine they wanted to be an astronaut, and were actually very interested in hydroponics, so if you had Get to Work, I bet they'd be a good scientist. So that's really the only functional balcony space. There's like a lounge chair and more gardening pots. It was just meant to look like a outdoor garden terrace balcony thing. I don't even know what you call it, but I thought it added some visual interest. And there's also lots of like planters around the rim of that top balcony there, just because I didn't like how sterile the facade of this building looked, because it looked more commercial, and also just because I just didn't know how to fill in the flat roof space, because I don't really build a lot of houses with flat roof space. Saying that, I've just done another one the other day, but this build has been, I was about to call it an apartment, this build has been just chilling in my recordings folder for like a week now, because I've wanted to do the voiceover for it, but my dad has decided that he wants to build a new wall in our house, so as you can imagine there's quite a lot of construction noises going on, and that is not very good or conducive to voiceovers. But I think this is pretty much the like core basics of the front, just the outside of the building come together now, and I'm just adding details here, which are these little, what would you even call those, overhangs, the red and white striped things. They look very commercial, and I know this isn't a commercial lot anymore, but I thought they just wanted to keep the like vibes. I don't really know, I liked how they looked I'm just losing my words today. I've been wanting to do this voiceover forever, and now I have the time to do it. I'm getting a little bit tongue-tied. That's how it normally seems to work. But there is a driveway going all the way down the right-hand side of this house, because, like, I imagine that when it was a cafe, like, supply trucks would come down the end to, like, park and, like, deliver supplies. So that was my thinking behind the, like, side driveway situation. There's also a pretty big backyard in this build. I don't think I talked about what this build includes particularly. There's 3 bedrooms, there's an office, there's a painting space, there's a nice outdoor space, lots of balconies, and there's a shed in the backyard for some woodworking. And that's the majority of what this house contains. Here's the front door and the front balcony. I got literally nothing useful on this balcony. Literally like 2 plants and a rug. And here we've just skipped over the floor plan magically because it was a headache with the diagonals, and now I'm just going around adding those, like, I don't even know what you call them, but they like connect the dots between the like pillars. I don't know what they're called, but I used a lot of brick on the interior just because I thought it was fun, and it kind of matched the outside because I used some bricks on the outside. But this is going to be where the kitchen is, and you might have saw me going around and like filling up the bottom floor outside balcony with a bunch of those planters that came with some update to base game, and I did that mainly to hide the back of the kitchen counters because they're going against these full-length windows, and I thought it would look kind of bad to just be able to see the backs of the counters through the windows, so they are blocked by planters, which fixes the problem. Could I have just not used floor-to-ceiling windows? Of course. But did I? No. But I'm a bit late on this whole base game kick that everyone went on when we got that massive swatch overhauled base game. Very much needed. I'm very happy about that, but I can't actually remember if I used many new swatches other than the new swatches on these curtains, these blue ones. I went for a orange and blue and like darker wood color scheme down here, but yeah, I'm pretty sure those curtains were the only main thing I used with different swatches, just because for some reason I didn't use many of the new swatches in here. I cannot tell you a single thing with a new swatch that I used other than those, I've just forgotten what I'm talking about. Other than those curtains, that's what they're called, and the upper head cabinets, those industrial style upper head cabinets. I think that's a new swatch of them as well. But this is me sorting out the entryway and like a kitchen island, and you saw me just plonk down the art studio stuff, talking over all of the important things here. But there's also a coffee machine and a microwave, and a good time to point out that this build is completely play tested. So I had a few issues with the fridge and the coffee machine being accessible, but I fixed it all up, so you will have no problems if you want to download this, and my origin ID is written down in the description. But I'm just cluttering up the kitchen now because there was lots and lots of counter space, and it was kind of funny because when I hear about other people doing base game homes, like normally people say that they struggle to like fill up the space because there's not really many decorations in base game, and at this point I was thinking, why would people say that? This is so easy, I'm not struggling at all. But then I struggled so bad when I got to the master bedroom, all of the bedrooms really, all the bedrooms they were so hard, I just didn't feel there was enough stuff. And here's the art studio, by the way, nothing too special, I just used one of those like shoujo dividers, and we're onto the living room now. But I struggled with the bedroom so much, I didn't know what to put in them. Felt like I didn't have enough stuff, but didn't have that problem in the living spaces at all. But here is the living space, talking about it. These curtains match pretty well with this wallpaper from base game, the blue one, and that orangey bookcase behind one of the couches really like spurred on the color scheme for the rest of this situation. But I don't know what update it was, but there's been an update recently which has made it so that your Sims can't interact with radios unless they're snapped to an object. Because I've tried recently, just even in my like current household, I've just been playing in a house I've been playing in for weeks, and all of a sudden my Sims can't access the stereo. They have that little like can't navigate to it waving animation. And I found it out when I was playtesting this as well, that if your radio isn't snapped to something, or if it's like hidden inside the like surface area of another object, your Sims can't access it, and I find that so annoying. So that stereo behind the couch is not accessible, and I think your Sims might be able to use it autonomously, but you can't make them listen to it because they'll say, I can't reach, even though that never used to be a problem before, which is kind of sad. I hope they fixed that. I hope that wasn't on purpose. But this is the dining room. I used all orange chairs here, and I also used the fish tanks in this build because, you know, limited on decor, so I don't normally use the fish tanks, but I thought they were kind of cute here. And by fish tanks, I literally just mean the like sad little round fish bowls, because no room for a bigger one, and I don't think we have any other ones. We have the like themed fish bowls that's like Candyland in a graveyard, but I didn't really think those fit in with the theme of this build. But that door just behind the dining table just leads out to the car area. It's pretty much just a quick exit to the bins. But this is the half bathroom downstairs. There's 3 bathrooms in this build. Well, 2.5 bathrooms, but this is the half bath, and it's the only one I'm showing because it is my favorite one, and I struggled with the other bathrooms. But pretty simple in here. Sink, toilet, that's pretty much it. I've got a blue wall and a basket, and that is the half bathroom, and that pretty much says a lot about how easy the bathrooms were for me in this build, judging by the fact that this is my favorite. They all pretty much have the exact same items in it, strong blue color scheme, same appliances, all of that jazz. But this is the office, after I add a rug in here, but this is the office space. Talking about the parents who live here, I imagine one of them to be a business person. I kind of imagine they were one of those like investor branches, and they like specialized in real estate. I just imagine they were a real estate agent, and that's why they have this converted cafe property, because they saw it for a steal and decided to renovate it. That was the idea. Their spouse is a painter, which is why they have the painting corner at the edge of the kitchen. But this is the business office situation, and I know it looks very, very squished with that armchair and where the desk is, but everything's fully accessible. I was very surprised too, but no issues in here. My Sim kind of got into an issue when he stood up from the chair and suddenly decided he couldn't go anywhere, but after I reset him he was fine, so I think that was a fluke. But I tried to use this really spiky pot decoration thing from base game, but I don't think I did in the end. It just wasn't working for me. Just used the standard rectangle, what's that called, plant pot. Ah yes, forgetting English, my native language. But these are some decorations. I'm just plunking down on this desk, and if you're wondering what I'm doing with those tissue boxes, it was me trying to mark where the desk sits, just so I wouldn't lose my place when trying to plunk down the decorations I wanted. But then I realized that this table was like snapped to the grid, so I could just put it back really easily. But now we're upstairs and we're doing the landing. The landing is kind of a funky shape, but it's pretty simple. I just get a doll's house up here, a bookcase, the super skinny bookcase that I really like. I forgot it existed, but I remembered recently, so you're going to be seeing it quite a bit from me in some upcoming apartments and such. But like I said, got the doll's house here, just some more kids decorations here. I think I might have sized down the dollhouse one because the dollhouses are massive, but I just get an armchair and like a table in the corner here because I didn't know what to put there. And I didn't want to put another easel because I think there's 2 easels on this lot, which I know, even though the person who lives here is a painter, I feel like 3 easels would be a bit much, especially considering they don't have an art studio. But I'm gonna get one of those height tracker things for little kids there, and we've moved on to the kids' room. And upon playtesting, I made a very sad discovery regarding the bunk beds. Here I'm going to be putting a bedside table next to this lower bunk. I had to delete it. I can't place anything right there next to the bunk bed. Otherwise, my Sim can't get into the top bunk, which is sad because there was a point in time where I could do that. But I think after one of the more recent updates, routing got a little bit screwy. It seems to have gotten a bit more picky, and suddenly I'm getting quite a few routing glitches and just stuff that didn't happen before. Might just be my PC. It is a bit fried at this point, but yeah, I had to remove the side table there, which is sad. Looks a bit empty, but functionality overlooks in this case. But in the kids' room, I get one of those oversized bunnies, science table. I was very happy to use that new artwork we got in base game with the update. Not with the update, I don't think. It might have been in an update beforehand, but I just thought it was cool, and I hadn't gotten a chance to use it because it has such vibrant colors. But I based the colors in this kid's room, which is clearly blue and yellow, off of that painting, just so I could use it like freely without it ruining the vibe of the room, because I'm very particular about color schemes in my Sims builds for some reason. If the colors are just slightly off, I just can't do it. I just can't do it. I hate it. I'm trying to work through that, but the perfectionism got me here, and that's why pretty much everything is blue and yellow. I also gave these kids a bunch of My Sims figurines. Maybe they're into video games. I didn't give them a computer, but I did give them an iPad. And I don't know about the functionality of the iPads in The Sims, because I've never used them. I just give kids computers if I want them to use technology, but they have one, which is nice for them. But this is the master bedroom here, and I actually really like how it turns out. Looks slightly janky without the reshade on, but I think everything looks janky without reshade after you started using it. I use Dove by kspice, by the way. Highly recommend. It makes your game look lovely. But this is just a master bedroom. I used lots of bright yellows in here, some oranges, just went for a very vibrant vibe in here. And I got 2 wardrobes because it was pretty big and I didn't know what to do to fill up the space. Lots and lots of mirrors. I also have access to that balcony there. I don't think I show the balconies on camera, like decorating them, because they literally all have chairs and planters on them. Nothing special. If you wanted to put another skill building object out there, like if you wanted to just shove a guitar on their balcony, that would totally work for you. Shockingly, I think it's because this is on a diagonal, there's plenty of space for your Sims to maneuver, even with that open door trick I did earlier in the build, you might have noticed. But I also put an ottoman by the end of the parents' bed just to fill up the empty space. And now we've moved on to the kids' room, and not the kids' room, teens' room. And if you are familiar with my content, you know that I build all of my builds in my own time, and then I rebuild them to film them, because I'm a very, very slow builder, and otherwise this wouldn't happen, right? So this is actually my second entire attempt at this teenager's room, and I just winged it here. I had no plan, because I really, really thoroughly hated the first attempt at this room, but I actually really like this one. And like I was saying earlier, I imagine this kid wants to be an astronaut, really into hydroponics, space. I give them some movie posters, gave them a punching bag because you need the athletic skill, fitness skill, whatever it's called, to be an astronaut, cowplant, poster, very strong green and brown color scheme in here. But yeah, I also imagine they had the aspiration from base game, the curator, which is why I gave them these little plaques of collections, which, if you don't know, the curator is basically collectible crazy, like the aspiration for the Sims. So they got lots of fossils, they got some elements. I don't really know, I didn't pay attention, I'm not very sciencey. But because of this lovely little pile of clothing I put under the bed there, one of the sides of this bed isn't accessible, but I didn't think that was a problem considering this is a teenager and only one teenager sleeps in here. But I also gave him a frog, nice pet frog. I wish your Sims could actually interact with the frogs like they're pets, like if they could feed them or just hold them, that would be cool, because otherwise they just sit there and blinks, staring into your soul, which is very good. I wish you could name them as well. You can't name them like you can with the fish, which is disappointing, because the fish are technically dead for a while before you decide to put them in the fishbowl. But they get names too, I guess, and not the frogs. But I'm going on a bit of a tangent here. There's a bookcase in the kids' room, of course. Most of the bookcases in this build aren't accessible, but that one out in the landing area is. So if your Sim wants a book, they can get one in the landing, but they certainly can't get it in here because it is blocked by that, sized down bedside table. But this is the weird, manicured balcony grassy area that I mentioned briefly before. Just got quite a few plants here with the landscaping color scheme in this like house in the exterior. I went for pretty much exclusively red plants because I was just excited that we got more red swatches on all of the plants when we got this base game update, and we also got new swatches on those plant pots. But I was very, very happy about the swatch updates for the landscaping. I think that was what I was most excited for, even though, funnily enough, I don't like landscaping. It's not my favorite thing, so I find it funny that my favorite part of this update was the plants, even though I don't like landscaping. But here's where the shed is. It's very, very small, very just wooden. I don't know. I use the wallpaper that's called the Starboard, or just Starboard. For some reason, I always remember the name of that wallpaper. It's a problem. But I use that here, and it looks pretty run down compared to the rest of the build, but I just imagined it was an old storage shed that they decided to continue using as a storage shed, but it's also like a woodworking center. They've also got some like painting decorations here, lots of windows, so there's a lot of light in here, but I used some more old-fashioned curtains out here. I didn't want it to look too taken care of because this is just a shed to hold their stuff in. I don't know, I get like a clock here above the bookcase, and then we're gonna be doing a segue into the backyard time. And I end up getting quite a lot of kids stuff in the backyard. There's gonna be a dollhouse with a sand pit and a monkey bar set, all fully accessible by the way. I think you need island living to have your kids be able to build sand castles. I didn't try that in my playtesting, but if you have island living, your kids can probably build sandcastles in the backyard. But part of that lovely sandpit was me having an absolute nightmare with the terrain paint in this yard. It's hit or miss. Can't tell if it looks good or not. If it doesn't, feel free to like bulldoze the landscaping portion and repaint it yourself, because I was having such a problem with the terrain paint. It just wasn't working with me today. But here's that monkey bar set I talked about. I think I also ended up getting a toolbox. I tried not to over landscape this yard too much because it's pretty big. It's also got quite an interesting shape for one of my yards. I normally just do it with just a block, and here's the dreaded terrain paint coming into play. I wish I had stopped right here with the terrain paint. Stopped right there. Then it would have looked good. But I kept going, and there's gonna be sand and everything, and it just looks very, very bad. But maybe I can salvage it before I upload this to the gallery. I don't think it looks that bad. It doesn't look hideous, it just looks a little bit funky. But here you can see the selection of plants I chose, which is exclusively red plants and the doll daisies, because I always use the doll daisies. They are one of the best plants in the catalogue, even though they are so simple, and if I only had doll daisies to landscape with, I would cry because they're very bad. But I use them consistently in every like batch of landscaping I ever do, as well as the pale yellow flowers, and I get some rocks scattered around here as well. But I use these bulbous bushes as well, pretty much only catalogue plants. I think genuinely only catalogue plants, except for those really tall bushes, these ones here, because you can change the swatch of them if you get them from the debug menu, and I wanted them to be a little bit darker than the lime green version in the catalogue. So I use them here, and I always like to bunch them up in twos in various sizes. I don't know why, I really like how that looks. I always tend to do it, but I really like the red landscaping I used here. Normally I go for pure white landscaping with the flowers and such, which is hard to do because there's not many good white flowers. I was sad to see we didn't get a lot of new white swatches with this update. It made me a little bit sad, but I like the red ones, so I can't complain. But I went for red landscaping here just because I thought it matched the overhang things on the, front windows of the build. And I also get quite a bit of landscaping around the front of the shed, but my sim could still walk into it, which is pretty good. And I imagine someone in this household, probably the teenager, definitely the teenager now I think about it, is very much into gardening. But there's lots and lots of gardening plots here. They got the two big square ones, and I was happy to see we got new swatches on those ones. I never expected to get swatches for these, square gardening plots, but they're pretty good. I think adding this like stone terrain paint here really threw me off with the level of okayness of me and the sandpit terrain paint, which I think it was throwing me off. But I like how it looks. It's fine. It's in the end. Not in the end. It's all fine in the end. There we go. Words are hard. But I get just a chair and a plant next to this barbecue. It's a bright red barbecue to like tie in with all the red going on here. But I'm gonna segue into the end of video stuff now. So if you stuck through this train wreck, oh no, if you stuck through this train wreck of a video, I want to say thank you for sticking around. If you liked it, you can hit the like button. You can subscribe. Oh my goodness, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more from me in the future. And I hope you have a wonderful day and enjoyed this terrible voiceover. Goodbye.